Okay, welcome. So let's dive deeper into the backtrack refurbishing process for Amazon or eBay or website customer returns. Now, I've already gone through all this top stuff like the setup and the parts on other videos. So we're going to focus on the refurbishing part of this process now. Let me zoom that in just a little bit. I think you can see it now. There's a lot of steps here, and this flow chart covers about 90-95% of tickets that we process. There could be things that are exceptions that fall off this chart. So basically, you're going to ship product back to Backtrack. You can automate that through the automatic unfulfilled process in Amazon's FBA warehouse, so that all unfulfillable products ship to us every week. That's what most of our clients do. We give you a reference number so that we can track all of your shipments have a unique identifier. So then once those shipments are heading our way and Amazon has given you a tracking number, you will enter a new ticket. And I've done an entire video on that, so we won't dive deeper into that on this video. And basically the next step is we will receive that product. Once we get it in, we scan the barcode on the shipping label. Because you entered a tracking number, we can find that ticket in our system, or tickets. Sometimes more than one items are in a box. Then it goes into receiving status. Once we receive it, it'll go into inspection status after that, not necessarily at the same time. So we inspect your product. Inspection is, looking at the package to see if everything's there. This is when we will then start opening up the worksheet for this product, which I've explained in other videos, and go through testing, powering up and testing the product based on the type of product it is and the type of service that we've set up through the business rules. Basically, here are going to be, like I said, cover most of the scenarios. Based on the condition, if it's A or B, that means it's like new or just small scratches, small signs of use. That's 80% of most of the returns we receive are in an A or B status. And those are products that are usually refurbishable, right? And so they'll go through what we call the renew process or the rebuild process. Now, if it is an A or B status and doesn't work, we'll go through the repair process, all right? And I will go through those different stages or service levels, I suppose, in just a moment. Once, if the item is C, where it has major damage or major scratches, not typically in a resellable state, and it could be defective or damaged, like it's broken, the pieces are broken and it's unrepairable. Then we'll go into what we call a reuse product stage. Reuse is where we'll pull the parts and use those for another repair. So there might be remotes or headphones or accessories that are still usable. We will pull those and put those into inventory. Or also main boards, DVD drivers, other parts and accessories that are reusable. We'll pull those parts and then put those into inventory for further use, future use with other refurbishes. So we call that a reuse. And then recycle could be, there's just nothing left in this thing, it's not worth it, it'll just get recycled. So let me go through these for 5 stages real quick, and then I'll move on to the ready to ship. So they're listed up here. We basically have 5 service levels. Rebox is going to be for very small items. Typically there's no testing necessary. You're just looking at it and determining good or bad. Very little plugging in. There's no powering up. None of that is necessary. So a rebox is a very entry-level service for small stuff. We'll receive it, we'll inspect it, we'll rebox it if it's A or B. Renew is going to be the most commonly used service. This is when we receive products back, but it does need to be tested. So it does go through the inspection, the testing. If it's dirty, we'll clean it, and we will rebox it. All the parts and accessories are included if it's a renew. We do show photos at this stage, and we will packet ship it ready to be shipped again to either Amazon or another customer. The rebuild is what happens. It's a one level up from a renew, and rebuild is when it's missing accessories. So we have to have parts and accessories from you, like I discussed in an earlier video, so that we can rebuild that package. And so we'll go back, and if there's cables that are cut or taped up, they're not looking in good shape, we will replace those power cables from stock. That's a rebuild state. So it goes through the renew plus adding accessories back into the package. And then repairs, just like it sounds. Obviously there's something wrong with it. It needs to be fixed. Could be swapping out a main board, could be swapping a screen, could be, checking whether there's cables that are loose inside, all those kind of things. That'll go through all of the, new rebuild, but also it can be repaired. Now repair C is basically just a separate scenario where the customer sends it in to us and then we repair it and we send it back to them. So that's our repair-C for in our system so we can keep track of the difference. Because it takes a little more hand-holding, you want it done more quickly, keep that customer happy. Replace is, we talked about that in another video where we actually send out parts or products to the customer. Reuse, I talked about just a moment ago, where we will pull the parts and then reuse it. And then recycle is if it's just there's nothing there, let's send it, let's recycle it to the recycling bin. Okay, so that's the different service levels. In a nutshell, now let's talk about what happens after it. After the product is refurbished, if it's in one of these 3 states, then it'll go to ready ship status. That's our favorite status. We want to get everything to this status and then obviously out the door for you. At this stage, you've got 3 options. And this is important. So, the first option is you ship it back to Amazon FBA. And so that's a common option. That's probably the fastest option, right? You can send us shipping labels, product barcodes that are Amazon barcodes, right? We will re-barcode that product because we've got new boxes most of the time, and we will pack that up into cases so that you can send it back to Amazon. You will go through Amazon system, create UPS shipping labels, and send us those barcodes, and that will be instructions on the details on that in another video. And then we will ship it to Amazon for you. That's the replace service. Obviously we're just sending it back in. The second option is you've got refurbished product. Maybe you do not want to resell it on Amazon, or maybe you do not want to send it to FBA. So you can resell it on Amazon as merchant fulfilled. You could sell it on your website. You could sell it on eBay. You could sell it on other channels of your choice. And once you sell that product, you enter a ticket into our system. It's called a BT2C. We've got another video on that. So you can enter a ticket and we will ship that one item, finished, refurbished, to your customer. That's called a replace. And so you would enter the ticket and then we would ship it. And that's called our replace service. And we do that often. Now the third option is more of a hands-off for you, plug and play type of a scenario. Depending, some clients don't want to even resell refurbished product. So this option becomes more attractive to them. And what you do is we will actually resell it. We have an entire process set up to list product on Amazon, eBay, websites, multiple websites, Facebook, local, in-store, etc. And so we can actually liquidate this refurbished product and sell it for you. And then we would then sell it and ship it to the final customer, and that's called our resell service. Now there's a little bit of different math that goes along with these different services, which we will just get into in detail with you during our contract stage, to tell you if we end up selling it, how does that work. And there's a couple options that makes it more flexible for you as well. And different clients choose different paths based on their needs or wants, I suppose, with this type of inventory. Obviously the type of inventory can make a difference as well. So there you have it. That is, like I said, this covers 90% probably of scenarios that happen. Like I said, when there's an exception, we have to go through this exception processing where, for example, we get a product that's not yours. That happens occasionally, maybe almost 10% of the time, which is crazy. So a customer buys your product but replaces a different item. Crazy that people do that, right? But that happens, and so those would be exceptions that we can go into more detail in another video. So hopefully this helps, gives you paints the big picture for you, and gives you a better understanding of what Backtrack is doing.